This video will be a quick intro on GitHub and GitHub Desktop. So I'll be first explaining what both of them are, and then we'll end with a quick demo. GitHub is a web-based version control and collaboration platform for coders. What this means is that you can upload codes to your GitHub profile in a repository. You can also download other people's code as well. It's a great place to collaborate, to also track like your past code, so you can have different version. You can collaborate with different people. And then we have GitHub Desktop, which is a GUI, which is a graphical user interface to be able to upload the code from your computer to GitHub. Let's go ahead and move on to the demo. We will first go ahead and create a repository on GitHub, and then we'll clone it and kind of like download it onto GitHub Desktop. So the repo is like a folder where you can put code, and we'll create one on GitHub. I'm on github.com and I am logged in, and you can see, and you can go to your profile. Let's go ahead and create a new repository. So you have two ways. You can either go here or you can just create here. And I'm going to call this my first repo. You don't have to put a description, but you can. And then let's go ahead and put it as public so we can host it on GitHub Pages. And then I'll go ahead and create a repository. You can always later add a Git Ignore and a README file or a license, so you don't have to do this right now. Sweet. Now we have an empty repo. So what we're going to do next is go to a GitHub Desktop and grab this repo. Let's go ahead and do a quick setup in Desktop. And now here it asks you to clone the repository. So you'll get all of the files that are in there, but since we create an empty repo, there'll be nothing. And you can pick your path. And I'm going to click clone. So now you can see I have my first repo in my GitHub Desktop, and it is empty, and I am on the main branch. And the reason we're on the main branch is because we don't have any others. We didn't create any other branch. So let's go ahead and add some file to that repo. I currently just dragged and dropped my repo folder into Atom. And you can see, it's a repository because there's like this Git, which the dot means it's a hidden folder. But let's go ahead and add a file. You could just have something as simple as a text file. So now if I go to my GitHub Desktop, you can see in that folder, my first repo, I have a text file. So it doesn't necessarily have to be an HTML, it can be whatever you want. And you can see here it says that I've added a line, and here I have a change file because it's brand new. So after that you're ready with your code and everything, and you have everything in the repo that you want, you can go ahead and create a commit. So here I would go ahead and put added a new file. And I can put a description if I want, but I can just commit to main. But now those changes are committed, but they're not pushed to GitHub. And we can even double check that right now. So you see I just refreshed my repo and there's nothing because I only committed, I did not push. So let's go ahead and push. So now if I refresh, you see name.txt. What if I wanted to actually edit this right here, right now on the GitHub? So I could say, hello, my name is OCN. So again, you would want to commit. And bam, now it's updated. However, when you update on GitHub, it doesn't mean it's updated locally. So we're going to have to update our local repository. All right, so now we're back to GitHub Desktop. So let's go ahead and fetch our origin. And you can see pull one commit from the origin remote, which the remote is the repo on GitHub, and it's also our origin because that's where we've cloned it from. So I'm going to go ahead and pull the origin. Great. So now if I open this in my Visual Studio Code, so now after I pulled it, you can see my file updated as well because I pulled. Now let's go ahead and create a repository on GitHub Desktop first and then push it up to GitHub. I'm going to go ahead and click on Add to add a new repository. So I'm going to create a new repository. I'm going to give it a name. I'll do my second repo. Again, you can decide where you want to put it. And just for fun, let's go ahead and add a Git Ignore file. So here we have different languages because different languages have different files or libraries that sometimes you might want to omit. I'm going to pick the Node one because that is the one associated with JavaScript. So now we have an empty repository, and that repository is also an empty folder. So let's go ahead and I'll open VS Code and I'll add a random index.html. I'll put some code, just change the title, add a header tag, so that way we can see it. As a quick side note, Git can also be used within VS Code, so you can see what stage and you can commit and pull from there. Now let's go back to GitHub Desktop and I'm going to go ahead and create a commit message and then I'll commit this, and you can just add some description if you want. And now here I can go ahead and publish the repository. And I'm going to leave it private, but you would want to do it public. But in case you accidentally do it private, I'll show you how to change it from private to public right now. So when you go to settings on GitHub, you can scroll down all the way to the danger zone and you can change the visibility to be public. So you can do all of this. And then right after you enter the name of the repo, it'll ask you for your password and you can just enter it. So now let's go ahead and see how we can deploy this, aka use GitHub Pages. So I'm going to pick the source, and that will be my repo in my branch, and then I can save it. Once you save it, you'll get a link, which anyone can access it. So the second you click on it, it'll give you a 404 error, so just wait a little bit and then refresh it, and then it'll work. And here you can look at the page source if you want as well, and it should be the same as your file online.